Welcome to Infinite Heart Stories. Today, we discover how a simple 1% change can completely transform your entire destiny. Meet David, a 32-year-old accountant who feels completely stuck in a frustrating loop of endless, unfulfilled resolutions. Every single year, he sets ambitious goals to lose weight, learn a new language, and wake up early for success. He always starts with high intensity, running 5 miles on the first day, fueled by a sudden burst of motivation. He stays up late, cramming vocabulary, trying to master a new language in a week, pushing himself to the absolute limit. But by day 3, the motivation vanishes completely. He crashes hard, feeling overwhelmed, and returns to his old, comfortable habits. He falls into the all-or-nothing trap, believing that if he cannot do it perfectly, he should not bother. This cycle of hope and despair has defined his adult life, leaving him convinced that he is simply not capable. One rainy afternoon, seeking shelter and coffee, David bumps into an old friend who he has not seen in years. It is Marcus, a friend who used to be lazy and disorganized, but now looks incredibly fit, successful, and vibrant. David cannot believe his eyes. He asks Marcus how he achieved such a massive transformation without burning out like usual. Marcus laughs and explains that he stopped trying to be a superhero overnight and instead learned a completely new approach. He hands David a card and tells him to visit Coach Helen, the woman who taught him the power of accumulation. Desperate for a change, David decides to visit Helen. He stands at her door, hoping this time will be different. Helen welcomes him into her office. She has a calm presence that immediately makes David feel safe to share his struggle. David pours his heart out, explaining how he tries so hard but always ends up back at square one eventually. Helen listens without judgment. She then stands up, walks to the whiteboard, and says his problem is simple math. She writes a large 1% on the board. She tells David that he is focused on the destination, not the direction. She explains that if you get 1% better each day for 1 year, you will end up 37 times better. The math is undeniable. Small improvements do not seem like much at the moment, but they compound into massive results. However, if you get 1% worse each day, you decline nearly down to 0. It works both ways for us. David stares at the numbers. He realizes he always ignored small changes because they seemed too insignificant to matter. Helen explains that success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. Consistency is the key. She uses an analogy. If a pilot changes course by just a few degrees, the plane lands in a different city. David asks how to apply this when he has failed so many times. Helen smiles and proposes a radical strategy. She tells him to forget about running 5 miles. Instead, his only goal is to put on his running shoes. David is confused. He asks if that is really it. Just putting on shoes sounds too easy to be effective. Helen insists that he must master the art of showing up. A habit must be established before it can be improved. You are building a new identity. You cannot be a runner if you do not put on your running shoes first. David agrees to try. He promises to focus only on the smallest possible action, making it impossible to fail. The next morning, the alarm rings. David does not think about the pain of running. He thinks only of the shoes. He sits up, puts on his socks, and ties his shoes. He sits there for a moment, then takes them off. He feels silly, but he did it. He kept his promise to himself. For the first time, he feels successful. Day 2 comes. He puts on the shoes. This time he walks to the door, touches the handle, and stops. Day 3, shoes on. He steps outside for just 2 minutes. He is not running yet, just being a person who shows up. He looks at his calendar, 3 green marks in a row. He is building momentum without feeling the pain of exhaustion. By the end of the week, it feels natural to run. He jogs for just 5 minutes, stopping before it hurts. He applies this to reading, just 1 page a night. It is so easy that he cannot find an excuse not to. He applies it to Spanish, just 5 words while his morning coffee brews. The small habits start to layer together. Weeks turn into months. The 1% improvements begin to compound. The results are no longer invisible, they are undeniable. David steps on the scale. The weight has dropped. Not from a crash diet, but from months of consistent movement. He finds himself holding a conversation in Spanish without thinking. The vocabulary had built up silently over hundreds of days. 6 months later, David runs alongside Marcus in the park. He is no longer the breathless man who quit on day 3. He thanks Marcus for the introduction. He realizes that the secret wasn't willpower. It was the math of small steps. David visits Helen to say thank you. He understands now that great things are built from tiny, consistent bricks. Helen reminds him of the golden rule: never miss twice. If you miss one day, get back on track immediately. She explains that bad days will happen, but getting back on track quickly prevents the slide back to zero. The difference between winners and losers is not that winners never fail, but that they never let failure compound. Your results are a lagging measure of your habits. Your net worth is a lagging measure of your financial habits. David has transformed his identity. He is no longer a person who wants to run. He is a runner. This rule applies to everyone. You do not need to be extraordinary. You just need to be consistent with the small things. Remember the math. 37 times better in 1 year. That is the power of the 1% rule. So, what is the one small habit you can start today? Make it so small that you cannot say no. Do not underestimate the power of a ripple. Your small action today can create a tsunami of success in your future. Build systems, not just goals. Fall in love with the process of becoming better, and the results will follow automatically. The journey of self-improvement has no finish line. It is a lifestyle of continuous refinement, 1% at a time. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Put on your shoes. Read 1 page. Write 1 word. Just start now. Your future self is waiting for you to make that first small deposit. Trust in the power of compound interest. Reclaim control over your life. Stop being a victim of your impulses and become the architect of your own habits. From a messy desk and broken promises to a life of discipline and achievement. It all started with 1%. I leave you with this question. What is the 1% improvement you will commit to making when you wake up? Walk the path slowly but surely. Do not rush. The tortoise beats the hare because the tortoise never stops moving. And when you succeed, pass the knowledge on. Help others break free from the trap of perfectionism and failure. The world is full of people waiting for a miracle. Be the person who creates their own miracle through consistency. Time will pass anyway. You can either spend it building your future or spend it regretting your past. Choose wisely. You have the power. It is inside you right now. It is not in the big leap, but in the small step. Small habits, big results. Let that be your mantra. Let it guide you through the difficult days of low motivation. When you master yourself, you improve the lives of everyone around you. Your discipline becomes a beacon of hope. Your story is still being written. The next page is blank. Will you fill it with excuses or with progress? Let today be the day you stop fighting yourself. Embrace the ease of the 1% rule and start growing. Start small. Be consistent. Trust the math. These 3 pillars will support you on your journey to a better life. Be kind to yourself. Forgive your past failures. They were just lessons teaching you that you needed a better system. If this story inspired you, please Share it with a friend who needs to hear this message of hope today. We are Infinite Heart Stories. We believe in the power of storytelling to heal, inspire, and transform the human spirit. Thank you for watching Infinite Heart Stories. Subscribe for more wisdom, and remember to improve just 1% every day.